Hi, welcome to our show. Well, today it's interesting. I got two guests, both named Michael. Michael Parise is my first guest, and Michael Turco, who's a magician over at the Planet Hollywood.
Yes.
I'll be on a little bit in a few minutes. Yeah. But you're not really known as Michael.
No,
right?
I'm known as Wheels.
And how do you get a name like Wheels?
Wheels started out, I was in Brooklyn. I started out at a comedy club called Pip's Comedy Club. And I would go on stage, and I was always a fast thinker. So I would think really quick, and I'm an insult kind of comic. And people would always go, oh, it's amazing how your wheels are always spinning. I'm going to call, this one guy said, I'm going to call you Mikey the Wheel. I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to be called a wheel. It's like calling me like a tire,
right.
How about wheels? So I kind of changed it, put little quotations on it, and we went with that. 25 years later, here we are.
Right, but there's also other kinds of wheels. We got the wheel in Las Vegas,
the wheel in Las Vegas,
roulette wheel, right?
Yep. Roulette wheel, right?
And speaking of Las Vegas, you're over at the Rio Hotel.
I'm at the Rio Hotel in Vegas, at the King's Room, right there next to the Crown Theater. 6 nights a week, 8:30 every night except Sunday.
And you do kind of a stand-up show, right?
I'm a stand-up. I'm a little in-your-face kind of guy. Very, I would say R-rated, not X-rated. But
and what is the difference between R and X?
I'm not filthy. I don't really get into the whole sexual aspect of things. But I do talk about things that are going on today, and I'm pretty blunt about it. And I'm in your face about it, and I don't apologize for it.
Well, what bothers you about what's going on today?
Everything. What bothers me is that people are not, they haven't smartened up yet. I mean, what's going on with people? Why are they still, everybody's against this, or against that, against this. Worry about what's going on, yourself. Fix yourself before you try to fix the world. The world will fix itself. It always does. This is America. We're the greatest country in the world. We'll figure it out. So stop, coming up with theories about, this is wrong. Or, did you notice this? Did you notice that? Just go home, relax, enjoy yourself. We're still around. We're having a good time.
People just don't appreciate the good things we do have here.
They don't. We have the greatest country in the world. They need to learn how to appreciate what we have. Do they ever drive around and go check out other parts of the U.S.? There's a beautiful country we have. Plenty of things to do.
And where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Long Island, but I actually grew up most of my time in Florida as a kid. Like everybody in New York at the time when I was young moved to Florida.
Right.
So I was on that wagon, and I grew up in Inverness, Florida, Citrus County. Right. And I had the greatest childhood growing up. Most comedians always talk about how their childhood was messed up, and that's how they became a comedian.
Dysfunctional, right? Yeah.
No, me, very normal, loving family, the greatest. I have nothing bad to say about it, and everything I talk about on stage is not the truth.
You always enjoyed comedy as a kid?
Always. I wanted to be a comedian since I was 5.
What was the first joke that you know?
First joke when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I used to do impressions. I was doing like Edward G. Robinson, and I'd go, you dirty rat. I was doing all that stuff. I was trying to be like Rich Little, And I eventually evolved, and I started listening to George Carlin, and I loved him, and then Jackie Gleason on The Honeymooners. So I kind of evolved into my own style of comedian. I don't think there was a first joke. I think the first joke I ever said on stage was, and I know we're going to talk about it later, but I went on stage I was about 375 pounds at one time with a full head of hair, and I went on stage and said, let me move this microphone stand out of your way so you can see me a little better. And then I said, I'm bloated. And then the crowd cracked up, and then I've been using I'm bloated for 20-something. I've been bloated for 25 years.
So bloated is kind of a trademark, or
it's very much of a trademark for me.
And I see you got a T-shirt.
Well, I bought you a T-shirt,
right?
That you can actually get anybody who wants. It's called I'm bloated.
Right.
And this is for you.
Right.
And then I want you to have that.
So do you wear this when you're bloated, or do you wear it any time?
Well, what's great about I'm bloated is you don't have to be bloated to wear it. It's basically saying be happy the way you are. A lot of people are in denial about being fat. When you walk out of your house, everybody knows you're fat, Ed. Just be fat.
Right.
Don't try to hide it.
But it seems like there's a lot of comedians that are overweight, and they're funny. Oftentimes because their humor matches their physical appearance.
Right.
So what happens when a comedian loses weight?
Well, if you lose weight, you still think like a fat guy, no matter what. Like I'm in the process of losing weight right now. I'm trying to drop weight, but I still think like a fat guy.
What does that mean? Think.
Like listen, when I go to the buffets, there's plenty of buffets in Vegas. I find the one I like. I prepare for it.
How do you prepare?
I don't eat for like an hour before I go.
Okay.
I try to once in a while I'll even stop at like Home Depot. I'll pick one of the guys up. I'll make him my shrimp peeler. He stays with me. It's almost like he stays. I put a little shirt on. You pick him, I peel him. Things like that.
So you can get it faster.
Right. I want to get in and out. You want to be able to hit the proteins.
And what's the other shirt?
This is called Fat and Black. This is for people who wear black just because they think they lost 30 pounds for the night.
Right, because when you wear black, it thins you.
It thins, but it doesn't
Yeah.
thin you.
It
You're
doesn't?
still fat and black. Now you're just fat and black. So now you're walking around with all black.
So you don't think somebody looks thinner when they're in black?
I don't think so. I think it's an illusion.
Right, but if they wear like horizontal stripes, they'll look bigger,
It
right?
might create the fatness a little bit more. That's why you try kind of wear your stripes down low. You know, you create the illusion. You know, but I like being fat.
But you just told me earlier that you're at the
I'm
gym
losing weight,
trying
but
to lose some
I
weight,
enjoy
right? Yeah.
but I still enjoy who I
Right.
am. I'll
Okay.
never go back on who I am. Even when I lose weight, I'm never going to be thin. Let's face it. I'm never going to be thin. It's just going to be the way I am. So what I'm going to get down to? I'm going to get down to 250 pounds. That's still fat. You know, I'm
Right.
not 375 anymore, but I'm a fat 250.
How did you go from the 375 to the 250?
I started working out. I started embracing a healthier lifestyle. As far as the foods that I eat, I'm eating more organic. I don't, and I'm really, trying to cleanse the system away from getting into the fast foods and fatty foods. I don't, so I just kind of do that, and I work out. I walk every day, and you got to be healthy. I'm 46. I have a 6-year-old daughter who I want to enjoy. My wife.
So how many years have you been doing the comedy routine?
I started comedy in 1986. I started opening for Andrew Dice Clay in 1990, and then I went with Dice, and I was his main opening act for 20-something years. And then.
Now, would you consider Dice R-rated or X-rated?
I would consider Dice probably triple X-rated. Yeah, definitely triple X-rated.
And if it was the clothing size, he'd be fat.
But he still would be fat and black. So, yeah, he's my best friend, and we're actually working on a few reality show together, and a few things, and him and I, hang out a lot. And,
Well, that would be funny, doing a reality show with him.
yeah,
right?
we had one back on VH1 in 2008. But this is this one that we're doing now that I can't talk about the whole thing, of course, because we haven't signed yet. But it looks like it's going really good.
So is he, he comes across a certain way when he performs. Is he
Definitely.
is he similar to that than when he's not performing?
If he doesn't know you, of course he has his guard up. So
Right.
that guard is that character. But of course he's not walking around cursing the way he does on stage. He'd be arrested if that was the case. But so no. But as far as when you get to know him as a person, as a friend, he's the greatest guy in the
Now,
world.
you guys ever have an argument?
Sure.
Because he's pretty good at in your face, verbal abuse, right back at you type of thing.
Right.
So do you stand your own on that?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I learned at the beginning for the first 18 years, maybe not. I'd kind of, still learning. I was a fan of his before I became his opening act, so I still looked at him as the Dice Man. I still do. He's still the greatest comic in the world, and he's legendary. How do you not call that man the legend? So I still have this great respect for him. But I don't back down.
And Wheels, you're a chef, I understand.
I'm an executive chef, celebrity chef. I do a lot of the celebrities in LA. I have 80% of the celebrities come through tasted my food. I have a catering company, the #1 catering company in LA called Cannolis Kings.
So what do you do? Cater at movie sets? Or
No, I don't do the sets.
No.
I do mostly events. When at homes, big mansions in Malibu and Beverly Hills, and they call my company. We come in and put on a show.
What's the biggest mansion you've been to on a celebrity house there?
The Playboy Mansion, probably. We catered over there. Michael Jackson. That actually put me on the map. I did the
At his
Neverland
ranch?
I was the only caterer ever to cater at his ranch. Right before the whole thing went on, it was called. It was a Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Right.
And it was $5,000 a person, and all the celebrities were there, and they called me to cater it, and that's what put me on the map as far as being the celebrity caterer.
Now, do you have a specialty? Cannolis a specialty?
I have 385 varieties of cannolis. I've developed a cream.
So 385 varieties.
Different creams, correct.
Different creams.
Right.
When you say a different cream, like different flavor?
Different
creams?
flavors. We
Right.
do every flavor known to man, and most women.
Okay.
We also do a full bar. We do a full 80s bar in alcohol-infused cannolis for adult parties. We do every flavor there is. We do peanut butter and jelly to red velvet to banana cream pie.
And how did you get into loving cannolis so much?
Well, let's face it. I grew up on cannolis, being Italian. And it was just one of those desserts where I said, I thought about it one day, and I'm like, every dessert went mainstream, but cannolis. It's such a beautiful dessert. It's this cream around this crispy cookie. Why would we not want to eat this more? And why can't we come up with more flavors of the cream? So I came up with 385 varieties.
Now, I assume that oftentimes when you're catering events, you're here doing, working, doing your comedy routines, right? Yeah. But there are times when you do go and
I will.
So were you at the Michael Jackson event?
I was. Yeah, I was at the Michael Jackson event. I will go to the celebrity events, the big celebrity events. I'll show up. I have a phenomenal team out there in LA, but I will show up to the big ones.
So is there anything unusual about when you went to Michael Jackson's, anything that stood out at Neverland Ranch?
Well, the ranch, I felt like I was it was in Disneyland, the way they had a train. I mean, everything stood out.
Now that's
it was
kind
very
of
over the top.
outside Santa Barbara, between Ojai and Santa Barbara,
Right.
out there, right?
Yeah, right out there. And, it was beautiful. Mike Tyson stood out. He was there that night. He was Michael Jackson's personal bodyguard, actually. So
he was like working
yeah,
the party.
it was kind of cool that he was actually, well, he wasn't working the party, but he was by Michael Jackson the whole night as his personal man. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Michael came over to me and gave me a big hug and loved it, and it was great. What a great night. And
And so, take me through like a typical routine you do at the Rio.
Well, you know what I talk about at the Rio? I mean, listen, when you're a big guy, you kind of have to address that right away. Because people, if I don't talk about being overweight, then people are going to go, wow, he's not talking about what he really is. So, and right now, you got to be happy the way you are, whether you're short, tall, fat, bald. And a lot of fat people, Ed, are in denial, like I say, about being fat. They have excuses. Well, I retain water. You're 700 pounds. What do you retain, a lake? What's wrong with you? What do you mean water? What do you So, and that's the excuses. They're big boned. I'm this. I'm that. Just say you're fat. You like to eat.
Do men handle this differently than women?
Yes, and I'll tell you what. And I'll be honest with you. I don't really badger or talk. Even if there's a girl who's overweight in the audience, I won't ever point that out. I'm only pro overweight. I don't talk about degradation. I don't degrade fat people. I would never degrade fat people. I feel you should gain the weight and be somebody. I really do. Embrace it. Be who you are, and don't ever be think that you're out of touch because you're overweight. So I don't really. I'm pro fat than anything else.
So you get upset when you see these anorexic models on TV?
I just think that what are you doing to yourself? You're not enjoying yourself. You're out there just trying to walk a runway. And I did years ago, early in my career, there was one lady in the front row, and I did get in trouble, and that's when I decided never to talk about fat girls again like that. She was wearing a shirt that said "guess," and I said, I don't know, 600, and she tried to attack me because she thought I was trying to guess her weight, and it was a pretty bad scene.
Wrong guess.
Yeah, wrong guess.
Bad guess.
It was just a brand guess,
Yeah. So you have a website.
I do.
Right.
I'mBloated.com.
Right.
You can go to I'mBloated.com, and that'll take you to the Wheels Parise site, and you can get all the information on the Bloated wear. You can get all the information on the King's Room, at the Rio, my show.
Right, because you have a whole clothing line eventually coming out,
I'm starting a whole clothing. We're launching live in June. I'mBloated.com is on right now. It'll take you to my website, but eventually it'll take you to a clothing line of all different overweight shirts for people who are.
So it's kind of like an online big and tall shirt.
An online big and tall shirt, yeah, where you can still sit on the couch and you don't have to put the bagel down.
Okay, and you can see Wheels over at the Rio, right?
Yep. I'm at the Rio Monday through Saturday at 8:30 p.m. You get there at 8 o'clock, doors open, and it's at the King's Room, which is a phenomenal room they put together. It's really, really gorgeous. State-of-the-art sound and lights, really beautiful room.